This room I got for 10,000 baht. That is £250 for the full month. We're talking the full month. But not even that. I'm sharing this with a friend. So this is gonna be £125 each for the full month. In this video, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go through how to budget in Thailand as an MMA fighter and how much money you're gonna need in order to be here for a month. So let's get underway. I thought, what better place to do this video than Thailand itself? This is budgeting in Thailand for fighters. It's not for people that are on backpacking or here for traveling. This is how you can stay here as a fighter and earn lots of valuable knowledge whilst doing it for cheap. Let's get on to the next slide. So first off, a couple points to consider. As you can see, the flights. The flights are the main bit of the expense for this trip. You're gonna look at around 600 to £1,000 for a flight. If you get one for 600 now, after COVID, well fucking done, because that's gonna be quite hard. Average, I'd say 750. But you still got to be looking. You got to be finding the best deals, looking at Skyscanner, a Podo, and seeing which ones will best suit for you. This is my 5th time here. My flight cost me $660 this time. Next point, it feels like monopoly money. I pay £300, I get 12,000 back. I've got 12,000. Because you have so much, you just end up spending, which can get in a bad habit if you want to be here on a budget. So just remember, when you're spending all this money, it feels like it's monopoly money. So don't go too crazy. The thing I say about Thailand, it is cheap, but because everything is just a grab away, you want to do everything. You want to pay for everything because you can afford it, and back home you couldn't afford it. You can live like an absolute king for the same price that you're living back home. But because everything a little bit extra is that close, you want to do everything. Trips on the weekend, other bits and bobs, they will start adding up, and that is why it will be like monopoly money. Last point, stay away from the booze. The booze is something that will cost you a lot of money. It's at tourist prices, but not only that, it'll make you miss training, it'll make you do bad decisions, you'll spend stupid money, then you'll get hooked up in the motion of going out drinking, meeting birds, and you'll end up in that cycle. If you're here for training, stay away from the booze. I'm not saying stay away from girls or anything like that. Speak to them, network with them, but don't be wasting your money on alcohol. That is my opinion if you're here as a fighter, because it'll take away from your training and you probably can't be bothered. Next point. Alright, these are my spendings. I've been on 4 trips, this is now my 5th time. Let's go through each time of what I did. First time, I went in 2018. I went for 6 weeks. I did 2 weeks Bangkok, 4 weeks in Phuket. I did 2 weeks Thai, Bangkok, 2 weeks Thai, Phuket, 2 weeks MMA, Phuket. Because of this, I could have done it cheaper. It was my cheapest time coming, but I could have done it cheaper if I stayed in one place because I'd have got monthly deals instead of having to pay for week packages. So I spent £1,500. I was living like a tight ass, a very big tight ass. My budget for food was 200 baht a day, £5. Now, I could not do that. I could not live off that. I need way more food and my body deserves more food. I was kind of starving myself a little bit. As well as that, I would do, with that £1,500, I would do tourist things on the weekend. I would not do it on the week. I would, every Saturday or Sunday, I'd pick something to do. Whether that's going on a little trip to PP, if that's going to see some elephants and swim with them. But on the weekend, I'd allow myself to have a little budget of 30 to 40 to 50 quid to go do some on the weekend. Massages, I had 1 a week. I wouldn't have more than 1 a week because it cost the money. I was trying to save it, whereas you look at me now, I will have massages every single day. Next bit, the flight, that was 380 quid. You're not really going to get a flight that cheap anymore, I don't think. If you do, well done to you. But that's 6 weeks. The first time I ever came was £1,830, and that is very good going for 6 weeks. If you're wanting to wonder how I got that money, I saved it from working. That is 2 months at working at Tesco, and that's how I got that dough. Second time, that's when I lived here. I'm lucky that I had a good network where I was getting a very good rate of paying for accommodation, food and a ped all in one, and I paid £220 a month for that. My training, I wasn't sponsored then, so training was still 250 quid and doing other bits and bobs in between. But that spending, 3,000, because I was living here now, I wasn't doing too much touristy things. I'd stay away from booze completely. I had one drink and that was on my birthday because my coach forced me to. I did it pretty well, 5 months. My flight, I only booked one way because I went to America straight after. So one way was 320 quid, which is okay. But if you figure out if you came there and back, you'd have to pay for another flight. But for me, I went straight on to America. Probably one of the most dedicated times I was within training. I was there 24/7, 3 sessions a day, getting up at 5 AM, finishing at 7 PM. Training was the only focus then. I would not waste my time on any other things. The third time, COVID, 5 months. I had a little bit more money, spending a bit more. I didn't eat out every single meal I ate in. I got a place to rent. I was paying $125 because I was a resident. I wasn't here for a touristy thing. £3,500 of spending money I spent within the 5 months I was here. I got sponsored for training, so that saved me £300 a month. But I did spend more on, I'd say, touristy things when my friends came. My friends came in the last 2 months of that 5 months, so I was doing things with them and enjoying myself with them, but I was still training full time, getting 2 sessions a day in. Flight was $650. We had troubles with flights, that was there and back because of COVID, but I booked a single for £500 and then I got a return, I don't know how, for £150. Don't ask me how, I don't have a clue. I was just, I'd say, lucky at looking at the right time, but that was the cheapest flight I ever got, and that came with a total of £4,150. My 4th time, what I spent probably the most money on, I came for 18 days. This mentality, I just fought, injured my hand, I came for a holiday, I was getting drained of training, of being in camp after camp. I just wanted some relaxed time, but I'm very active as it is and I love the sport anyway. So my relaxed time is to train still, just not as intense. So still doing 2 sessions, but I'd finish the day by 1 o'clock every single day. I'd do an early morning and a mid-lunchtime session, and that was me for the day. £1,500 I spent within those 18 days. I was eating good, I didn't really care about the price. I probably budgeted 15 quid a day. I'd get a massage every single day. Massages, not expensive, they are 250, 300 baht, which is about £8, £7, £8, and I'd get that every single day. So I probably spent 100, 150 quid on massages. I didn't care about the price of food. If you eat Thai food, it's a lot cheaper, but I wanted to have healthier food, so I'd eat Western food. I'd have Mexican bowls, I'd have tacos, I'd have Vietnamese, sushi. I'd switch it up. I wasn't really a Thai ass, whereas the other times I'd stick to more Thai food because I wanted to be a little bit cheaper. My flights there and back were $750. COVID's been, they're more expensive now. That is probably the average price for a flight. Total costs were £2,250. Now, let's go on to how much should you budget for coming to Thailand. We'll go by step. Training, I'm saying 350. Bang Tao is 15,000 baht, which off the top of my head is 320 quid, along those lines. 350 quid, somewhere around those areas. So that's exactly the same. Tiger, I know that's £350. Training's the most expensive bit. You might find or think that is an expensive amount to train, but they're tourist prices, and that is where the majority of the money is made for these Thais and these companies. So training, I recommend budgeting at 350 quid. If you're gonna go around and get privates, it's most likely gonna be more. I've been sponsored for quite a few trips, for at least 2 of them with my training, so that helped me out quite a lot, as that is the big expense. Now, your ped, it all depends how much you're gonna ride. Prices have gone up, high season at the moment, and because of COVID, ever since then prices are more expensive. Now a ped, I paid this time 3,500 baht for the month. That is £90. You've got to barter with them a little bit. I speak a little bit of Thai. Not a lot, but a little bit. And it goes a long way. It helps create a connection with the Thais and it helps get cheaper rates, really. So you've got to barter with them. If you want to barter the price, do not accept what they first say. And then petrol money is nowhere near 60 quid for the month. I spent £3 on a full top up. It'll probably last me a week to half the week. I'm not going to spend more than 8 quid on petrol a week, I don't believe. But I'll put 150 just in case you want to get a better one. But you don't need to, you're here to fight, so just get one that does the job. I've got a 125. I don't want a bigger bike just because there's absolute muppets around you that drive like complete idiots, and if they hit you, you can still come off. No matter how good you are at driving, you got to be careful of people around you, because in Thailand, not many people know actually how to ride a ped back home. It's the first time doing it. So it's up to you if you want to spend more, but you're here, remember, to fight, not to have a nice ped. Next bit, accommodation. Now it differs depending where you're staying, I believe. I'm in Bangtown now, so much more expensive. This room that I've just found, absolute deal breaker. Don't know how we found it, my mate found it. But I'm gonna say £300 on average. That is about 15,000 baht for the month. You wanna try and find a deal for the month. Don't be paying day rates. And it's the same thing. If you go to a Thai, you can probably barter a little bit, but I'm putting towards £300 towards the budget for that. Remember, you're in Thailand, you've never been here before, and even if you have, you're not really going to stay in your room. I always think, oh, I'll get a villa. I'll get a villa with my mates. But really, we don't stay there, and we just waste money. So just get something that's got aircon. The first time I stayed here, I didn't have aircon because I wanted to save money. Get aircon, and that's enough. Aircon bed, you see mine at the start, that's all you need. Toilet does the job. Next bit, we have food. Now, food, I put down here, as you can see, £5 to £15 per day. This all depends on how much you eat yourself. I eat a lot. I eat a lot of food. You're probably going to eat less than me, I'm totally honest. But if I go with a £15 a day budget, that's 450 quid for the month. If I go with a £5 a day budget, it's £150 for the month. So it depends what you're doing. If you're not eating Thai food, there's no way in hell's chance you're doing it on £5 a day. If you're eating Thai food, you can do £5 a day. If you're eating more English food, or American, or Mexican, or Italian, it's going more to that 15. I could spend way more, but I'm still being a little bit more budgety towards my food, because I don't want to go to spanky restaurants, because at the end of the day, that will add up. But I'm still getting good quality food. Thai food has oils in. If I'm totally honest, stay away from them. Massages. Now, this all depends. You could get the addiction to a massage, and I'm not meaning no sucky ducky ones. I'm meaning straight normal massages. They're about £300, 300 baht, sorry, and that is about 8 quid. You can get them cheaper, you can get them more. I put down here £48, as you can see on this. That's 2 a week. That's 8 massages overall, if I've done my calculations correct. It's around that 48 quid barrier. Now, weekend and tourist bits and bobs. You're here to fight, but you've never been to Thailand before, or even if you have, you want to have a good time still. You don't want to be just training 24/7. So on your rest days, the weekends, I put aside £50 a weekend to do some stuff. And that's not including your food. That might be go to a trip for PP. I paid £35 to go to a trip for 2 PP. Included the food, included snorkeling, included all those bits and bobs. Cheap. Very cheap. There's ones that are more. Elephant swimming with them, I paid, I think at the time, £70. These are a few years ago now. But there's loads of bits and bobs that you can do. So I'm putting £200 for the month. 50 quid for the week. Ends. Me personally, I won't do it on the week just because I've got Sunday as off, and normally I got bored on a Sunday, so I picked that day as my tourist day. Next bit, taxis. I put down here, as you can see, £100. You might not spend that. It might be for other bits and bobs, but you always like to have a little bit of spare money for a few other things. 100 quid.
Flights, I put here 500 to £1,000. Now, this depends how patient you are. I know people, when I came last year, spend £1,500 and they said they couldn't get any cheaper. It's patience and it's knowing what to look for on the flights. I've done a video on this, on how to travel on a budget, but main thing is, if you've got no time restrictions or anything like that, or there's not a certain day that you've got to come, try and fly on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Personally, I found that a little bit cheaper. Don't know why, probably because most people are at work. So if you fly those days, normally you get a decent deal, and don't buy the first one you get or your first one you see, unless you're getting it for 500 quid. Just shop around, look around, do research. That is what I do. So that comes to a total, the absolute damage for being in Ladyboy Land for the full month, the damage is £2,348. Yes, you can spend more. Yes, you could probably spend less. But this is a decent budget to have to come to Thailand. If you are 18 years of age, that is a good starting point to come through. You're not going to run out of money there. Unless you're absolutely stupid and you can't budget with your money, it's going to be hard to do so. But I think that is a very good amount to come to Thailand with, even if you're not 18 and you're like 30. Yes, you can do it on this as well. Just, I know from experience, as I've got older, I've wanted to spend a bit more money on things like food, my health, and recovery. When I was younger, not so much. I just brushed it over the head. But as you get older, you want better quality food and you want your recovery to be top notch. And you most likely probably want to do a bit more touristy things. I don't know, I'm just speaking from experience, but that is how I've seen it. As I've come to Thailand, I'm on my 5th time now, each time I've spent a little bit more on here. Spent more on massages, spent more on food, spent more on touristy things. Just the fact that I'm getting older, it's a blessing to be here. When you go back to England, you realise, oh, I should have done that, I should have done this, and I don't like living with regrets. Money comes and goes, but the experiences, they never leave. And that's what life is about, having experiences and creating memories. And that is why I've spent more as I've gone along. Now that is my damage for the Ladyboy Land. If you do want a Ladyboy, however, just put £50 into your budget for a night with a Ladyboy. 2,000 baht. Not speaking from experience here, I'm just word on the block. So make sure you include that on your budget list. I'll go back again. Take a little picture of that if you're wondering about coming to Thailand, and use that as a guide to how much you are going to spend. But that is all for today. I will see you in the next one. And guys, remember, if you've got it this far and you've not liked or subscribed, get out of here. If you've got it, what we're through, we're nearly 20 minutes through. If you got this far, make sure that subscribe button is hit. But I will see you in the next one. Bish, bash, bosh, pow!